Hello and welcome to Bright Blue Innovation. I'm Lydia Paulinska and I'm delighted to be your host. We have a lively show for you today, whether you are joining us here in the studio or watching us on cable and Ustream. On today's show, we have the pleasure of talking with members of the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, also known as IEEE, a support organization for electronics and computer community. They are the world's largest professional organization and dedicated to advancing technology for the benefit of humanity. The IEEE has more than 420,000 members in over 160 countries, and they publish one-third of the world technical literature. They are also a leading developer of international standards for the entire industry. Here to tell us more about the IEEE is our first guest, Roger Doering. Roger is the chairman of the Auckland East Bay section of IEEE. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lydia. I'm glad to be here.
Did I make that right with the last name?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
supposed to be Sutton. Roger, so what is your involvement with IEEE?
Well, I've actually been a member of IEEE since I was an undergrad. It's been many, many years, and I've stayed with that through my time in industry as well as my time in academia. So I've returned to the academy now, and I teach at Cal State East Bay.
I forget that I should call you professor. I'm sorry, so Professor Roger Doering. The organization tagline says advanced technology for the benefit of humanity. What does that mean?
Well, we take technology, and all technology is conceived by individuals, but we have to share that. And if we don't share it, it doesn't benefit mankind. And so by publishing our ideas, we make them widely known, and we record all those documents, and they're all available to our members online. So there's like 30 million documents that you can read and access if you're a member. We also host over 1,300 conferences every year around the world. And these are technical conferences where people go to learn about what's the breaking news, what's the cutting edge of the technology. And so by sharing this technology with our fellow business people, technologists, we spread these inventions to make all of humanity benefit from it.
Wonderful. I think we have a video to play about IEEE. Is that?
Let's take a look.
Yes, let's take a look. Can you share with us more about the organization and what it brings to the tech community?
I'd like to. The letters that you rattled off at the beginning are actually kind of an antiquated idea at this point. There was a couple of older organizations that joined together to form the Institute in the beginning, but now we've spread our technologies over such a wide range that it no longer really is just for electrical engineers. And so the organization prefers to just think of itself as IEEE without spelling out the words anymore. So we're open to members in many areas of technology. So if you're a mathematician or a business major or a chemist, there are applications and areas that are of interest to you in the IEEE. We have over 29 different technical societies that are worldwide and hold conferences and make publications. And so each one of these has their own technical special interest group. Some members belong to more than one.
Professor, I would like to also talk about the students, because I know that you are counselor for the student, at IEEE
Right.
organization, and we have in the studio we have the students. So how that joining the IEEE can help their career?
Well, any student can join the IEEE even if they don't have a chapter on their campus. They can, of course, go to a chapter meeting at a local campus, and since this campus is so close to our campus, they could come to our meetings. They could also form their own chapter, which is a little more difficult to do in a 2-year institution, but certainly possible. So all you have to be is a major in one of these technical areas or business, and you can join up by going to the website IEEE.org/join.
And yes,
I think that's right here in the beginning of our pamphlet. We talk about the community and how you get into it and how you connect and subscribe and how to join. And so when you get on that website, you can just pay your student dues. Now, student dues are quite lower than active member dues, and so it's quite a deal to be part of the IEEE, because you get discounted admissions to all of the conferences, and you can have the opportunity to present your papers at these conferences.
in the video we saw that the IEEE is a global organization. What are the challenges in bringing this widespread community together across so many different cultures?
It's true, and I think if we could cut to the first slide.
Yeah.
So you can see here the world map has been colorized to show the regions that make this up. Now, we have 10 regions, but 6 of them lie in the United States. So that tells you a little bit about the balance of membership. And while membership is quite weak in Africa, it's fairly strong in Europe and Asia. So we see South America and Canada as another region. The United States has then 5 of those regions, and we are in Region 6 here in California. And this is our Oakland East Bay section.
Oh, pretty big.
Well, it's geographically large. We include the student campus on Fresno State and all the way up into Modesto and Stockton. So that's our area. Of course, we have a web page for the section, but IEEE has this kind of overlapped organization where we have geographical organizations, but we also have the technical organizations, and so those overlap each other. And so sections welcome conferences from folks all over the world. And so a conference I went to last month in August had people from not only all around the United States, but all over the world converging right here in Cupertino for this conference.
But they must be, I understand, with that broad spectrum of group, there must be some challenges, like, standards. Are the standards the same in every country?
Well, it's one of the things that the IEEE specializes in, is creating these standards. We bring the industry specialists together and form a standardization committee, and they negotiate, and they come up with what becomes a worldwide standard. So, for instance, the IEEE 754 standard is the worldwide standard for doing floating point computation. The Wi-Fi standard that everybody knows what Wi-Fi is now, but they don't realize that's an IEEE standard.
Thank you very much. And see you maybe soon, maybe next time. We will be talking more about more other areas of IEEE.
Lydia, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Our next guest is Jack Berg. Jack has held a number of positions with the IEEE and currently is involved with special recognition and awards for the organization. Welcome to the show, Jack.
Thank you for having me, Lydia. Great to be here.
Thank you. What is your involvement with IEEE?
So I'm the Senior Member Advancement Chair for the Santa Clara Valley section. Santa Clara Valley section includes San Jose plus most of the peninsula, and I work with members to take them from being a member to being a senior member on their way to becoming a fellow. And we work with members to improve their skills, both technically and from a business perspective, to help them with their career, both at their job as well as outside their job.
So you are, I believe you are around 30 years with IEEE, with this very impressive number. So can you tell us more, how has your affiliation with IEEE helped you in your career?
Sure, I'd be glad to. When I first started working, the CEO and founder of the company that I worked with happened to be an IEEE fellow. He was a person who had invented a way of isolating transistors in a standard MOS process, and was extremely well known within the semiconductor industry. And so it was through him, his name is Paul Richmond, and others that got me involved in the IEEE. And subsequent to leaving Standard Microsystems, which was my first position, I found that other CEOs, Dr. Ed Sack, who I worked with at Zilog, as well as Dr. TJ Rogers at Cypress Semiconductor, were IEEE members as well. So it was not just an employee or just bench engineer that was involved with IEEE. It was people with a great deal of influence and who had started their own companies.
It looks like you admire these people, these names, that they are very important for the IEEE. So it sounds like there are members' benefits also beyond the just technical knowledge of the group. Can you discuss how the group helps individual and small businesses?
Sure. So in terms of individuals, folks, it's a great networking group. You get to meet people who are involved in areas that you're responsible for, or you have subject matter expertise, and they're able to help you and mentor you. Likewise, in the job that you have, as well as perhaps finding your next position as you move forward in your career. Likewise, there's a number of people who prefer to start their own companies as well as become consultants, and there are groups within the IEEE which help those individuals, both from understanding how to start your own business, whether it be a consulting practice or an actual entrepreneurial business, and as well as
that was your path.
That
right?
was that's been my path for the past 10 years, and as well as just simple nuts and bolts things, such as if you're starting your own company or you are a consultant, you need things such as healthcare, insurance, etc. And the IEEE has programs that provide members who need that as part of as part of an overall membership program. Obviously, you have to buy into that at this point, and it's of tremendous value for folks in terms of building an ecosystem in and around what they want to do. So the benefits are extraordinarily enormous, and it really involves you asking the organization for help. And what's amazing is, in general, it comes back to you.
So the benefits will be the insurance benefits. What other benefits are IEEE offers?
So there's health insurance, life insurance.
Because
Go ahead.
because IEEE is representing the group, so the power of the group, it's much better for the individual. I understand that the resources that IEEE offers are not easy to get for the individuals or small businesses. So there is a lot of advantage of joining that.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Group insurance, since they are part of a group, they can provide group insurance, which is a discount, as an example, to trying to go and do it yourself. And typically those discounts are in the neighborhood of 10 to 20%.
So we have in the studio the students that the previous guest was talking about student benefits as well, and I would like to ask you, what would you like them to take away from, like, one message from what is the benefit to join IEEE?
So the key benefit of joining the IEEE is that if you're an electrical engineer or in the electronics field, a technologist who really wants to partner with others at this point and have a network of people that you can work with both while you're working and in cases where you want to start your own business, to forward your career long term. And I would suggest that if you're not in the electrical engineering field, that you do find the appropriate society that you can work with that does this, because there are other engineering societies and other professional scientific societies as well that do this. For electrical and electronic engineers, absolutely terrific organization to be part of.
Wonderful. So I would like to follow up a little your path going to your own consulting business. Many young people, they dreaming about consulting business starting from, almost in very young age. Do you think they should be more patient? They should use like resources that like IEEE is offering first, and then follow their dreams and start their own businesses, or should they do that from the beginning? What will be your advice for them?
So my advice is that if you have an idea of what you would like to do, pursue it as quickly as possible. And the best time to do that is right now. That's oftentimes difficult.
Why is the best time right now?
Why is the best time? Well, if now is not the best time, what is? It's a situation where if you have an idea and you have a dream of doing something, the best time to start that is now. And for young people, it's actually extremely helpful to do it then, because in many cases, you don't necessarily know whether you're going to be successful initially or not. And in Silicon Valley, we have a term called fail fast. So if it doesn't quite work out the first time around, it's better to find that out immediately and then pivot and make it work subsequent to that. So for young people, it's a great way of moving forward. If you feel that you work better in a very large team initially, going and working for a large organization is something that you might want to consider. On the other hand, if you've got a really good idea that you would like to, that nobody else has thought of, and you are really interested in doing that and passionate about it, starting your own company or your own business is a great way to go. And I would encourage people to do that at the earliest possible time.
And in the meanwhile, also use the resources that IEEE offers, right? Simultaneously.
Absolutely. You can't, if you're starting your own business, whether it be consulting or an actual business that's going to become large, you can't do it alone. And having a network and an organization like IEEE will help you out. It certainly did for me, and it will certainly do that for others as well.
Wonderful.
So at this point, one of the things that I find that's really, really important for people to understand is that you're capable of working through items at this point and your career, and sometimes you may want to, in the middle of it, make an adjustment. That's where the IEEE is extraordinarily helpful. There are people who you can reach out to and ask about, look, I'd like to consider moving, say, from strictly electronics maybe to bioengineering. There are bioengineering organizations and groups within, for example, the Santa Clara Valley, where you can call up members of that group who happen to be working in biomedical devices or maybe even pharmaceutical companies here in the valley that will help you tell you what's that all about, what the expectation of employers are, etc., and the like, and move forward there. There are other areas where, well, for example, if you want to start your own business or consulting group, the Silicon Valley Consultants Network is a group within the IEEE where it meets once a month here and talks about consulting challenges and issues at this point, which is terrific. And then likewise, new ideas and new opportunities are oftentimes explored, and there's groups within the IEEE that work there. One of them that I was actually involved with from the start was the IEEE Nanotechnology Council, working on material science at the molecular and atomic level. Another, which a good colleague of mine and friend has started as well, was an autonomous vehicle development and group 2.5 years ago, which meets on a monthly basis and has folks from Tesla, General Motors, Ford, and other automotive manufacturers come and make presentations and talk about what they're doing. So IEEE really believes in lifelong learning, also lifelong networking, and by being involved with the IEEE, especially in the Bay Area, you're able to take advantage of those items. And likewise, there are many, many members here in the Bay Area who are actually very, very famous, who are now in their 60s and 70s and have retired, but are still active in the IEEE, and the ability for students and recent grads to reach out to those folks and have one-on-one conversations is very real and very possible.
Absolutely, and it's great to have iconic people, around in the same field, when you as a young person looking for, your field. Thank you very much for the stories, because the stories are something that stick with us sometimes more than numbers or statistics, but stories about the people. And your example is wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing that.
You're welcome, Lydia, and thank you again for having us here.
Thank you. It sounds like IEEE is a very dynamic organization, and I'm actually participating member. Only 2 years of joining it, I become an officer of Consumer Electronic Group, and now I'm helping to build a new Broadcast Society group. Thank you, all of you, for watching Bright Blue Innovation. I had the pleasure to be your host today, and see you next week at the same time.